Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We're just waiting for people to join. So, good afternoon. Good afternoon. So, I'm Debbie Blackshaw, and I lead on the Social Work Academy. I've been a social worker for 32 years, and I've been in Cafcass over 20 years. So, obviously, there's something that's kept me at Cafcass. If we could have the next slide, please. So who are we? So if you join us, we are independent advisors to the family courts in England, and we address welfare of children, and we look at what is safe and in the best interest of children. We operate in accordance with the Criminal Justice and Court Services Act 2000. You'll notice that we also work under the Children Act, under other pieces of legislation as well, but primarily we were founded under the Criminal Justice and Court Services Act. We're an arm's length body of the government, sponsored by the Ministry of Justice, but we have really strong partnerships with the Department for Education and for the Department of Health. We have statutory responsibilities in terms of safeguarding children and promoting their welfare. We give advice to courts, we make provision for children to be represented, and we provide information, advice, and support to children and their families. Can I have the next slide, please? So in terms of our overview of our work, you'll notice from this slide that most of our work, so 66% of our work comes from private law proceedings. And this is when parents are divorced and they are separated and they can't agree agreements, they can't agree arrangements for their children. So we help them in terms of looking at what would be in the best interests of their children. And we also act in public law proceedings, and that's mostly around care and supervision applications. So we oversee local authority care plans, and we are involved obviously in the safety and welfare of children, and we support courts in making safe recommendations both in public and private law proceedings. So that's 34% of our work. So we, to date, we make a difference in the lives of about 143,000 children and rising every year. I think that's particularly impressive. So if you join us, not only do we work with and have our footprint on 143,000 children, but we also employ over 1,700 social workers, and that's growing. Could I have the next slide, please? So when you join us, you'll join the Social Work Academy, and that's a distinct area of Cafcass where we've developed our practice in terms of looking after particular students and newly qualified. We also support practitioners who want to continue their professional development, and we also support practice educators. But not only is the Social Work Academy a distinct department, we also have a vision. So we want to make sure that you receive the best possible training and support to do your job effectively. And we pride ourselves in providing you the best possible support from really experienced workers. So what that means is, although we're a small department, we have extensive knowledge and experience. We're all experienced practice educators, but we're also, we all come from the background of being family court advisors. So we have that background knowledge of being present in practice. So when you work alongside us, we know those difficulties you may be having. We may be able to help you with the challenges in relation to the decisions that you make. So you're not alone. You're here in terms of we know that that we have that extensive knowledge. So when you're part of the Social Work Academy, you'll know that you're going to be supported. So our unique package of support, what does that look like? So The Social Work Academy is proud of our uniqueness. So what does that uniqueness look like? We have really high standards in relation to the practice. So that's not just practice with children and families, because they obviously deserve the best, but it's also practice standards, high professional and practice standards within the sector. So Skills for Care have rated us as having an excellent package of support that extends beyond the ASYE programme. So during your time with us, you'll spend at least 9 months within the Social Work Academy, where we'll line manage you very closely. You'll have extensive supervision. You'll be given training and reflective space and time to think about carefully around that changing from student into being a newly qualified social worker. So our unique package extends to not just the first year. We continue to support you throughout your whole 3 years. So we make sure that you've got a unique training package that's independent to you. It'll look at how we stretch, how we develop, how we strengthen your practice. Could I have the next slide, please? So the newly qualified programme, what does it look like? So we've just talked about the first year. You'll follow the ASYE programme, which is if any other local authority or independent private sector follow the Skills for Care, which is overseen by the Department for Education package, you will have a similar experience. So you have the reviews at 3, 6 and 9 months. You also have that time to be able to critically reflect. A bit about our uniqueness again is that instead of the 10% workload reduction, we offer 20%, because we recognise that we want to support you, we want to challenge you, but also we want to make sure that that scaffolding is around you. So we'll oversee your progress, as we've said, over the 3-year programme. We'll be chairing reviews. We'll be offering additional support. So that might be about co-working some pieces of work. It might be coaching. It might be offering a consultative role. But certainly we will be line managing you. So making sure that you're meeting the milestones, helping you in a way that helps you progress into your ASYE and further into 3-year programme. So what the programme hopes to do in the first year is it hopefully improves your skills, capability and confidence. So that transition, we know, from being a student to a newly qualified and into your early years, it's a real step change. So what we want to do is for you to have clear expectations so that you know what we're looking for. So that transparent way and partnership way of working. So it enables Cafcass as your employer to provide you with focused supervision, support and guidance by defining the responsibilities of staff. So what that means is you have a comprehensive programme. So that will be shared with your colleagues. So you will have a programme of practice sessions, solution circles, reflective practice. You'll also have sessions with your mentor, which is looking at your professional development plan. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? What do you want to look at? What do you want to explore more? And that will all be part of your professional development plan. So it gives you greater assurance in terms of giving you the support and the best possible practice to achieve during that ASYE, so that children and families get the best possible support from you. And it also contributes towards the requirements of the post-registration training for Social Work England. So we encourage you throughout the year to make sure you're recording that on Social Work England's site, so that in November of every year, you've got that continual professional development. So it's not just a chore of doing it. It's about that reflective learning in terms of thinking about, where were you last 3 months? Where am I this 3 months? And we know that that's something that our newly qualifieds enjoy in terms of thinking about their own professional development. But also, hopefully, you'll get your job satisfaction as a social worker will improve. Could I have the next slide, please? So, again, another uniqueness is that we have an accredited programme. So our Social Work Academy work with 2 universities which academically support the first year. So the ASYE programme is academically accredited by the University of Central Lancashire, and the second year programme into the third year programme, because that really is about embedding your public law knowledge, and you work alongside Sussex University and the local authorities around Brighton and Hove, Chichester, that will join you in developing your practice knowledge, but also getting that academic rigour. So we want not only to improve your practice, embed your practice, but we also want you to have that research mindedness. So that's why we developed that academic program to enable you to really put your feet forward in terms of having that research rigour embedded at the very early stages of the ASYE programme. So to further support this outward-looking approach, we invite experts every year to share their knowledge and research about current topics. And that might be around a student that we have with us that's got having a particular thesis that is relevant to what we're looking at. We might invite the student in, or we might invite PhD students in that are looking at particular areas of practice. Could I have the next slide, please? So we're very keen on having that lifelong learning. So our own theoretical and practice knowledge in the Social Work Academy, as I've said, is extensive, and we understand that the world of social work changes rapidly. So that's why we continue to work in practice. We never leave practice behind. We're continuously looking at research. We're continuously looking at practice within Cafcass and externally. And the Social Work Academy works with university departments in terms of designing and delivering academic accredited modules for you into your later social work career. So we look at specific modules. So for an example, we've worked with Manchester Met University in developing a programme about mental ill health. We've worked with Sheffield University looking at private law proceedings. We've looked at, and we work with UCLan in their first year. Or your first year, your ASYE, where you build up those credits towards a master's qualification, and the second year continues to build upon those credits, and you'll notice that you'll receive a postgraduate diploma at the end of your newly qualified program. But also you can save those credits to get a master's degree if that's something that you want. For those that already have a master's qualification, there is an expectation already that you have a social work qualification. So it's about that continued knowledge of learning. It's not a repeat of a master's qualification. Could I have the next slide, please? So what also we do is, in addition with external partners, we chair panels. So we ensure that our knowledge is current around the local different local authorities or different universities, and we form part of the recruitment of new social workers. So we have lots of experience of working externally with our external partners. But what we also do, we also work with external speakers. So we work with those that are expert in their field that are relevant to you. So we have Karen Treisman, who is a psychologist that comes in and talks with us around working with children, particularly around trauma. We have Zoe Lodrick, who talks with us around, again, a psychologist, thinking about working with parents that have experienced domestic abuse. And we also have those external writers and academics such as Mark Dole and Stephen Shardlow, who work with us in relation to thinking about embedding reflective practice, that reflective learning. Can we have the next slide, please? So throughout the 3 years, you'll have reflective supervision. We'll theorise on practice, and we'll have those. What we know is that from experience, our newly qualified really enjoy that peer-to-peer support. So we do meet in person. We meet. You'll notice we're based all around the country, so we'll choose one central office where we'll meet, and we'll help to think about how are you writing your critical reflective logs. What do they look like? Because we notice and we know that they're firmer and stronger if they're academically referenced. We know that they have to be met, they have to meet the post-qualifying standards, so the KSS, alongside the PQS. So we don't leave the PQS at the door, sorry, the PCF at the door. We integrate that with the PQS. So by joining the academy for 9 months, you'll have practice supervision, you'll have reflective supervision, you'll have supervision that is supported by practice educators that are in their field. So all that small hub of learning will be condensed, it will be supported, and you'll get the expertise from lots of different professionals that will help you in terms of building your confidence in practice. We've already said that your workload will be capped at 80% because we know that helps in terms of embedding the demands of the ASYE. And also in terms of continual professional developments, we work closely. So we have our regulator comes in to talk with you around what's expected of your CPD. We have obviously the academic rigor, and also the CPD requirements. We talk with one another so that we ensure that when we're recording our CPD, that it meets the requirements of Social Work England. Next slide, please. So what else do we offer? It's brilliant, isn't it, that we offer all of these support mechanisms for ASYE. So you're not going to be alone. You're going to be building your confidence. We know you have wobbles. We know that's something that we have the experience of, and we'll help you, we'll hold you, and we'll make sure that you achieve your best. But what's the wider offer for our employees at Cafcass? So we take a holistic view to how we support our colleagues. So we give you the support and supervision and resources to practice safely. And that also means that you're able to share that peer-to-peer support. So we know that that's really vital as well. So you have access to your peers through chats. That might be through Microsoft Teams, or that might be through WhatsApp. So we join those together so you have that safe space to be able to think about and challenge your own peers as well. So we encourage you, enable you to continue professional development whatever your career aspirations. So we have newly qualified social workers that have been with us for some time and now are directors of Cafcass. We have students that have that joined us as students, went to work for the local authority and have come back, and they're now directors of Cafcass. So we have a career development that looks at aspirations. So we support you in thinking about, so what do you want to do? So it might be that you want to be a consultant family court advisor, or an assistant service manager, or a service manager, or an improvement service manager where you can help others learn. And we can put that together throughout the career of your starting as an ASYE. So we make sure that you've got the best technology wherever you are, and we support the use of that. I'm a really good example because my technology wasn't brilliant when I came to Cafcass, but actually now really effectively work with IT and reach out for support and guidance. We have a brilliant a system called Little Fish, where if we've got any technical difficulties, we can ask for those to be rectified, but also we've got great IT trainers that help us and walk us through the system. What our students say to us when they're leaving, one of the questions is around IT and the evaluation of that. And what the students say is, actually, it's really intuitive. It works with us. It's very focused in terms of looking at research. It underpins all of our practice aids are underpinned by research and by theories. It will tell you where that practice aid has come from. You can look at those externally on our website, and I'd encourage you to look at our practice aids because they're really important in terms of thinking about our analysis. We also support you as an individual, whether this is your physical, mental and financial health, and this is through our wellbeing offer. So in addition to your leave, you're entitled to 4 health and wellbeing days. We do encourage you to take those on the particular days that we identify, But what we notice and what we know is that sometimes that's not possible. So you're able to take those 4 days at some other time that is more convenient. Something that's excellent that, and again, our newly qualifieds and our students always comment on is the library service. We have an excellent library service, and I'm always amazed by how quickly that they'll come back to me in relation to thinking about a particular area of interest or a topic that I want to look at. So I might just say to the library officer, is there any recent research around? And they'll come back with a list of resources that I can choose from within about 10 minutes. And that's, for me, that's extraordinary. If it's a book that I want, they will order the book and it will come to me. So they have links with the National Library Service as well. So if we haven't got the book within Cafcass, we'll either buy it or borrow it from elsewhere. It's such an I can't speak more highly of the library service, and I know it does assist because of the speed that it responds, and that speed is recognised by the fact that we are often we're working at under pressure to maybe find a particular research element that helps supports our decision making. So we've talked about the health and well-being offer. We've talked about the library service. I'm only going to pick a few out of this, but the other thing is the psychology service that I have used personally in terms of my work. And it really gives you a lens of understanding from a psychological perspective. So it makes you think about kind of why a child is behaving in this way, or why a parent is behaving in this way. It gives us a broader kind of understanding in relation to the in relation to the practice element. Touch a little bit more on the well-being offer. It's such a brilliant offer in terms of our kind of medical service. So we get support towards our dental, our opticians. If you wanted physiotherapy, it contributes to some of those costs. So it's an additional thing that helps us in terms of remaining well at work. So I think that's a really, really good offer. Our next slide, please. So we do build relationships with many different professionals. So we've talked about the National Psychology Service, but we also have champions within our peer groups. So it might be that somebody has expert knowledge around working with a Gypsy Roma travelling community. So we would look for our peer practice specialists, and they will help us in thinking about that. We have a peer practice specialist that looks at FGM. So we talk with them around thinking and formulating our understanding around the thinking around our decision making. So there's lots of things around thinking about kind of spreading our thinking widely. So when you're a newly qualified, you start to think with our program, but you can also start to think around working with your operational service areas and nationally with our with our other FCAs that have experts in their field. So what we're going to hear from next is two newly qualifieds that have joined recently. So if you want to play the video.
So hi, Lily and Esther, and thank you for joining and agreeing to this video, which is going to be shown to prospective newly qualified social workers who might want to apply to work at Cafcass. If you can just start by introducing yourselves. Lily, do you want to go first?
Hi, I'm Lily. I'm a newly qualified social worker based in the Essex team in Chelmsford.
Thank you. And Esther?
Hi, I'm Esther. I am a newly qualified social worker and I am based in Stevenage.
Thank you. And just for the purposes of the video, my name's Jenny and I'm based in the Social Work Academy, where we oversee the ASYE, well, the whole newly qualified social work programme, including the ASYE. So Lily and Esther, I was wondering if you could just talk a little bit and tell us a little bit about how you found the ASYE program so far.
So yeah, I can explain. So I started back in October, which gave me sort of a period of time to settle in. And during that time, we had an induction process. We was given lots of training so we could sort of understand the work that we doing, sort of Cafcass's policies and procedures, which I think was sort of a good foundation before we went into sort of the practical side of things and starting the ASYE as well.
Oh, lovely. Thank you, Lily. I'm glad you had that really good kind of grounding before you felt like you were thrown into the practice. Esther, did you have a similar experience?
Yes, I did. I started back in December, and it was really a lovely experience actually. There was a lot of support and I was shown the processes by my manager, and I got to meet a lot of the staff that are within my area, which was a great source of support because they were able to show me different aspects of what it looks like to work in Cafcass, and I was able to shadow a lot of them as well, which was a great eye opener to the type of work I would be doing once I finished the induction period. So it was really good.
Yeah. So what kind of work are you both doing at Cafcass?
So predominantly we're doing private law, which can include child arrangement orders, step parent adoptions, parental orders, and I have one instance where I've got a family assistance order, which is work that I haven't really come across before. So it's been really interesting to sort of
Yeah.
get into that.
Thank you. And I think you touched on this, Esther, a little bit. How are you finding the support, particularly from the academy? Obviously, you're both going to be receiving that support from your line managers in the area, but how have you found the support from the academy?
Yeah, the support has been great actually. My supervisor, Stephen, has been uh incredible actually. Since I
Yeah,
started.
seems so
Uh,
knowledgeable.
yeah, he is. There's nothing I feel he doesn't know. And if I have a question, he's always ready to answer. But the biggest support that he's given me was when I was given my first case. Stephen was there and coaching me through every step of that first case. So through from the case screening from the beginning to the child's assessment part of it, and all the way through to writing the report, which was invaluable. So it was fantastic.
Oh, lovely. And Lily, how have you found the support from the academy?
Yeah, I think
Not that I'm putting you on the spot. Sophie, I hate it. Not that I'm putting you on the spot because I'm your mentor.
but no, I think to echo sort of what Esther has said, the support's been great. And I think even, if you're not available, then Stephen and Debbie are available um to go to, and there's always someone sort of on hand to help. And there's been sort of lots of supervision, lots of coaching, sort of, checking over sort of work for us at times, of QA in the reports. So yeah, it's been brilliant.
Thanks, Lily. Um, and I guess one of the things we were discussing before we kind of started this was talking about the positives to working at Cafcass kind of beyond kind of the practice stuff. So we were talking about flexibility. How have you found working at Cafcass? Have you found it good? I don't know, put words.
Yeah, so for me, the flexible working that Cafcass offers has been great. It just sort of gives you the opportunity to have a work-life balance,
Yeah.
and to not be too bogged down. I sometimes found on placement, it can feel quite overwhelming. Whereas here at Cafcass, you kind of, you still work the hours that you're contracted to, but it can fit in around other things as well.
Yeah. And you
And I
work,
just think
sorry.
it's great for well-being as well. It just gives, yeah, like I said, it's a really good work-life balance, which, impacts well-being.
Yeah. Thank you, Lily. Did you want to add anything, Esther?
Just really the same as Lily. The flexible working is such a huge benefit, especially for any prospective applicants who may have a family, Like myself, it's really beneficial for me to still be able to spend time with my children first thing in the morning and after school as well. That is a huge benefit for me.
Yeah. And then the last question, are you enjoying it? Are you enjoying your first year working at Cafcass?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely recommend it. If anyone's thinking of applying, go for it.
So we heard from Lily and Esther and Jenny, who recorded it for us the other day, which was really lovely to see, and they kind of shared their experience. But we've got some, I collected some kind of data from our newly qualifieds, and one of the experiences came from a newly qualified that had completed their 6-month placement with us. And what they said is that they started with us as a newly qualified worker. And whilst they thought they'd have a really kind of quick and easy transition into a newly qualified role, what they said was the academy was really helpful in terms of that blip when they thought, blimey, this is a real change. I'm responsible for my workload. I'm now a paid practitioner, and the expectations on me are much higher and greater. And what the academy did was helped them in terms of really embed their learning from those 6 months of being a student with us, but also kind of recognise that they did have the skills, knowledge, and we will build on their experience in terms of becoming a newly qualified social worker. The next slide, please. Have the next slide. So what the newly qualifieds also talked about is why they chose Cafcass. So they chose Cafcass because they had a manageable workload. It was recognised that they were new in practice, so they were given that extra support and guidance from both their operational service areas, but also from the academy. They recognised that there was some flexible working. But they also knew the expectations in terms of when they were to attend court, when they were to attend office. So there was great expectations on them, but they were very clear and they were able to meet those. They also recognised that Cafcass learning, so the learning and the support that they would gain from the system called Cafcass Learning, which has both online resources and in-person training. They also recognised that they had the additional support from the Social Work Academy, the psychology service, and from the library. So that extended knowledge of learning. They also really rated the child impact assessment framework, which helps us in thinking about the decision making and where our thinking is coming from, where is it influenced by. But also what they've also said was around the Together framework, which is our way of working within practice. This is how we do it here, is often what you hear is it's a restorative relationship based practice that works on the strengths, but it's also of high challenge. So we work closely with Mark Finnis, who helps us in terms of embedding that practice framework. Could I have the next slide, please? So you'll be glad to hear you'll stop hearing from me soon. This is the final slide. So another newly qualified said to me was by managing their workload, they feel that they're capable and beginning to be more able in terms of taking on more complex work. They feel that the support is there when they need that reassurance or they want to talk something through, both in the operational service area and with the Cafcass Social Work Academy. They have protected time. So the ASYE has protected time where you can draw on your knowledge, start to think about your practice, and share your knowledge and wisdom with other peers. and that every day is a learning experience. So every day is a school day for our newly qualified, and that is about sharing their workload. That's about sharing their knowledge. That's about sharing quick ways around IT. So we might have somebody who says, "Oh, there's a quick way of doing this. This is what Little Fish have told me." So we share all that knowledge much wider. I've noticed there are 2 questions in the chat. Unfortunately, we don't have part-time newly qualified posts. They're all full-time. And the second question was thinking about attending offices. I think Lily and Esther talked about that flexible working. There is flexibility in that working, but we have to also think about those core hours, thinking about when you might be expected to attend the office. So you will be required to attend your office base. So be mindful that you might be attending team meetings. You might be going into the office for visits with children and families, because we have excellent family rooms in most offices, so that have really good toys for children to play with, but also you have those resources of other peers being around if you wanted to kind of explore your interview, if things had not gone as well as you had expected, or you want to challenge that. Yes, there you will be expected to go to local offices and local courts, and also as I kind of said earlier, we do have those times when we'll meet as a ASYE cohort, and that might be that you might have to explore traveling further. So it might be in Birmingham, it might be in London, it might be in Manchester, might be in Leeds. What we try and do is geographically look at where everybody is and choose an office that is easily reached. So the questions I can see there's some more in the chat, so I'll look at those whilst I'll hand over to Priya.
Thank you, Debbie. Can we have next slide? Thank you. My name's Priya, so I work as part of the resourcing team, and I'm just joining today just to talk a little bit more about Cafcass and also the application process. So Debbie kindly went through some of the flexible working that we have here, and the NQSWs on the video also spoke of this. But we also have our holiday allowance, which is 28 days. This also includes your bank holidays as well, and our 4 wellbeing days, which Debbie also mentioned, additional to this, which are placed across the year, which are a really great benefit across the organisation. Really advocate for you to take those 4 wellbeing days. We also have a brilliant pension scheme as well, which will be applicable to join as well. We cover your professional fees, and we also have a generous discounts portal as well, which is brilliant, and a healthcare cash plan as well, which you're eligible to use once you start with us as well. Next slide, please. And a little bit more about the application process, which I'm sure you're all eager to learn a little bit more about. We're recruiting across all of England, and the designated offices are listed on the application form, and I've just put them here for your reference also. When you do come across to make an application, you're able to select 2 locations on your application. So you'll be provided with this list here, and you can provide some reasoning as to why one is your preferred choice over the other. And we'll try our best to obviously accommodate first choices if you're successful as well. This is also listed on the vacancy, is the criteria for applying for the ASYE as well. So you all need to make sure that you have a relevant degree or postgraduate qualification in social work. And we're accepting applications for a 2-1 or above, or a merit or above, received in the previous year, 2024, or you're due to receive this qualification in 2025 as well. The ASYE start date is actually September, so we need to ensure that you have your Social Work England registration by July at the latest for us to be able to onboard you for a start date of September. And the salary is a starting salary of 33,114, and that does rise up to 38,206. Across the 3-year program, we do have implemented key milestone payments, which you receive at the end of each year, and they total a value of 2,000. So that is an additional payment that you receive as well. This QR code links directly to the application, but I'll also make sure it's posted in the chat. And it is also available on our vacancies page as well for you all. Next slide, please, Anissa. And we have been posting as we go along a lot of our content and resources in the chat box. You have those available to refer to as well. But if you want to have a look at any of our previous live events or hear more about the experience from our social workers, we have video content on YouTube, LinkedIn, and a lot of it is also available on our website as well. So you can use that QR code to take you directly to some of our content as well. But for now, if you want to continue to post in the QA, me and Debbie will stay on for a little while just in case there are any more questions to be answered. But otherwise, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon, and a recording will be sent to you all after we have closed today. So thank you so much for joining.